The foods that you should definitely avoid are the highly processed, what we call ultra-processed foods, because they're full of all sorts of substances. Usually they're the ones that you don't recognise in most of the ingredients, or have huge numbers of ingredients. So, and those tend to have emulsifiers that upset your gut, and they have sweeteners and all sorts of starchy, sugar and carbohydrates and sweeteners. So definitely avoid those. Those won't help by any means. In terms of other things to avoid, I guess alcohol's not going to help. It's kind of, I suppose you call it wasted calories, certainly in the kind of intense part of the programme, but I would say that is the main thing to avoid. Yes, there are several foods that actually, and a lot of people they're delighted to find that they can add natural healthy fats. For years we've been told not to eat fats, and people kind of assume that fat means you can get fat, and there's not the connection that sounds obvious by the name. So embrace olive oil. It has an anti-inflammatory effect. It makes food taste fantastic. Who's ever had a ratatouille without olive oil? It's watery and not very nice, but it also helps you absorb vitamins. So natural healthy fats we very much embrace them, and would avoid the alternatives that people have been using in the past with low-fat yogurts, low-fat foods, because they've usually had most of the goodness stripped out of them, and really much more like an ultra-processed food. So embrace cheese, full-fat yogurt, and it keeps you full for longer as well. I think cooking from scratch is beneficial for most people, and I work really hard on the recipes to keep them as simple as possible with as few ingredients, and within the Fast 800 program, the recipes are designed to be easy, with ingredients from the cupboards, from the fridge, from the freezer, so it's not too onerous cooking. It just makes it much easier, but you know what you're eating, you know what goes into it, and you can adapt and change, but it's if you can, eat real food. Stress certainly has an impact on your body in all sorts of different ways, including on your gut, and will make it much harder to tolerate symptoms of menopause. So things like mindfulness, finding ways of practicing that and embracing that on a kind of regular basis if you can. There are other aspects, things like doing exercise, and again, you start from the level at which you're comfortable. It's really about moving more and getting more active and finding something that you enjoy, that works well for you. Well, like stress, sleep has a huge impact on how you're feeling, how you're eating particularly, and if you're not getting enough sleep, you're much more likely to go and snack, eat unhealthy things, probably to crave starchy, sweet foods. When Mike hasn't had enough sleep, he's rattling around, rummaging through the back of the cupboards looking for things to nibble. So well worth working on strategies to help you sleep, of which there are many, and they discuss it in the course in detail, because it does make such a difference. But it's such an individual thing as to how that works. But certainly, as with the menopause symptoms, the whole issue of disturbed sleep, where sweats, flushes, the duvet on, duvet off, all night being disturbed, that has a huge impact, and people wake up exhausted, and it's very difficult to keep up with the diet when you're exhausted. So If you're on HRT, basically what HRT does is it brings you back to the level of hormones that you would previously have had in your body. So there's no reason to worry about doing the Fast 800 if you're on HRT. So in the run-up to around the menopause and following the menopause, you find that your metabolism changes, you might crave things more, so it can be harder. But one of the great things about the programme is that it helps you get into a structure in terms of losing the weight, not feeling as hungry because you've changed the way you're eating on the Mediterranean style diet, and that makes a significant difference. And also you have access to mindfulness, which helps keep the stress levels down, again really helpful during menopause, and better sleep and being more active. And that doesn't mean to say you have to go out and run a marathon or be doing it on a sort of daily basis, but it's just getting more active and finding an activity, an exercise that you enjoy and that you can sustain, and finding, working it out for what works for you in your life. If you're menopausal, there's really no reason to be worried about doing the rapid weight loss phase, just like anybody else. You may still be getting some symptoms of menopausal symptoms, but quite a lot of people, because of the change to a healthier diet, a healthier microbiome, reducing stress, find that symptoms tend to improve. Not for everybody by any means, but it's more likely to improve your symptoms than